Political structure, that's a phrase we've heard so many times in Nigeria. But what does political structure really mean? Does it mean money? Does it mean people? Or is it an aggregation of people's interest? My name is Isabella Akinseye, and Politico Politica starts now.
The Nigeria of the future is for dreamers like me.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
Our local government areas must become special economic zones.
I hope to disrupt the politics of failure.
There will be no sacred cow.
Dissolve all the congresses, dissolve the convention, and start all over again.
Mr. President, my people are under siege.
Leadership is not about the position you hold.
You can't shut down your shop and be chasing criminals.
If you allow criminals, there will be no shop.
Find ways to fix your judiciary.
Transport say aye.
And most importantly, fix the mind of the people.
The party must do what is right.
Nigeria suffers from a state of economic ridiculopathy, social sciatica, and political dystopia.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. Let's meet our guest. He is a nation builder and the Chief Executive Officer of the Gemstone Group, a leadership development institution aimed at raising leaders of excellence and exemplary values who would be committed to building Nigeria into a most desirable nation to live in by Wednesday, the 31st of December, 2025. He is a sought-after business strategist and has 2 decades of hands-on industry experience in the facilitation of management retreats across financial banking system, multinational and indigenous firms. He has a unique command of inspirational leadership that enables even the most successful executives aspire to greater things beyond their perceived boundaries of possibilities. He is the presidential candidate of Alliance for New Nigeria. He is Fela Durotoye. Fela, welcome to Politico Politica.
It's good to be here, Isabella. Thank you for having me.
So let's go straight into our topic of the day. We're looking at political structure. We hear this all the time. But what is political structure?
Political structure, in one way, is the structure, the organizational structure that most political parties use to spread their message. If they have an ideology, spread their ideology, gather members for the party, and most importantly, voters for the party. But we're in a different time and era today. And one of the things that I keep saying to people is that it's not all of political structure that is seeing your offices with your flag in every local government and every ward, and it's not a bad thing. But today, the real structure is people. People who are connected to an ideology, people who are connected to a goal. And most times in today's age, you might look at new political parties and think they don't have political structure, but it is going to be the greatest surprise that most of the existing parties will have. That today, people are organizing, and they're organizing in groups, and those groups are building, don't forget, membership for the political parties, and more importantly, for the ideology. So today we're seeing more people that believe in an ideology of a new Nigeria, sometimes than the number of people who have joined the political party.
I think you're already going into my second question, which has to do with how important is it to have political structure?
So the first thing is, it is important. Any political party that will win must have the ability to galvanize people, by spreading their message across to those people, getting those people to believe in the ideology of that party, if it has an ideology, and in the political party itself, and sometimes the candidate, and more importantly, getting people who will vote for that candidate. Today, one of the things that we've realized is that structure is not always brick and mortar. And so for many of the new political parties, they are learning very quickly that through the power of social media and by extension building ambassadors for their ideology, they are able to actually go into places that they don't have physical structure. But building people, so you would go to villages and realize you don't have physical structure, but you have people within those villages. So political party structure is important, but Brick and mortar is no longer important. It is the analog days. Today we are dealing with the digital, and some people say to you, Fela, what are you talking about? Oh, the people who vote, they are in the grassroots. I always say to them, true, they are in the grassroots. But one of the things we have to remember is that out of a population, a voting population, in other words, people that are above the age of 18, 96 million people were above the age of 18 in 2015 at the last elections. Only 28 million votes were mobilized by the supposedly structured parties with all their political structure and all the vote buying, all the ballot stuffing, all the underage voting, all the manipulation of results that we all saw and had evidence to. With all of that shenanigans, they were only able to get 28 million votes. Why? Because 68 million potential voters did not believe in any ideology. At that time, they didn't have much of a choice. They didn't have parties like Alliance for New Nigeria. They didn't have the new emerging parties that were going out there. So they were stuck between choosing one of the two sides of this bad coin or just deciding that they were not going to vote. So 68 million of them decided they weren't going to vote. So what I'm trying to say to you is that those people today are the ones that we are activating. It is true, many of them are on social media, but many of them also have links to people who are not necessarily connected to us on social media. Many of them have parents. I always tell people, everyone has roots in the grass. Everyone, very few people were born in the cities. Most people have grandparents, they have parents, they have uncles, they have aunties. What is going to be different about this generation is that we are accepting responsibility to shape our own future. So now people are actually coming to that point and saying, you know what, I'm going to get everybody that gave me a nation that I don't like to vote for the way that I want. And that's why 2019 election is going to be a very pleasant surprise for all the parties that have established political structure. They will be very surprised.
And my final question on the topic of the day will have to be political structure. A lot of people will argue that it's something that's in the hands of political godfathers and godmothers. A few people are the ones controlling things. A new political party might not have these kind of godfathers and godmothers. What's your response to that?
Well, we do have godfathers and godmothers, but there are just 190 million godfathers and godmothers. They are the people of Nigeria. We don't have the kind of political godfathers that these other ones have, that is one person that sits down and arrogates such power to themselves that the will of the people no longer matters, right? We believe that it is the people who will win the election. We believe that it is the will of the people that matters. And therefore, they are our godfathers. And guess what? They are the ones that have given us the money so far. We have not collected any money from any cabal, any money from any, money bags or godfathers. It is the people of Nigeria that have contributed 5,000, 10,000, 500 naira sometimes. Area boys have given me 500 naira. Those are my godfathers, right? In Adamawa, a gentleman walked up to me who was a paraplegic man, and he gave me 200 naira and this is please take this is for me, and he gave me that money. I literally started crying. That is the person that I'm running for. When I get into office, that is the person I cannot forget. Nigeria no longer wants political godfathers. They have not been good for us, and they have been completely detrimental to our growth and our potential as a people. We want a new Nigeria without political godfathers. And that is what Nigeria, Fela Durotoye, and the Alliance for New Nigeria is. No political godfathers here.
Thank you, Fela, for your contribution on our topic of the day, political structure.
Thank you so much.
We'll be going on a quick break, but before then, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts when it comes to political structure? Please tweet at PP with Isabella using the hashtag Politico Politica. You can also make your contributions on Facebook and Instagram following Politico Politica. The show returns shortly. Join us again.
Politico Politica. Politics for everyone.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. It's now time for our Politics and More segment where our guest, Fela, will be sharing his journey into politics. So a lot of people say that politics is a dirty game, but why did you decide to get into the ring and get yourself dirty?
Okay, so let me first say that I say to people, yes, well, if politics is a dirty game, well, you need to ask, what should we do about it, right? We wake up in the morning, our mouth is dirty. We don't leave our mouth at home and say, well, our mouth is dirty, let's go out without our mouth. We wash it. We wake up with dirty bodies in the morning. We don't leave our bodies in bed, we wash it. when it's dirty. We wash our clothes when they're dirty. So if you can wash your clothes when it's dirty, wash your mouth when it's dirty, wash your body when it's dirty, what should you do with your politics when it's dirty?
You wash it.
And you wash it with clean things, because that's what you do to get things clean. And so what we realized is that for many years, the narrative, politics is dirty, has only benefited one set of people. People who had no interest in making things better for everyone else, people who had, all they wanted was their own self-interest and selfish interest for themselves, their own families, to steal, to acquire power. And so that narrative, politics is dirty, meant every dirty person leave this thing alone. And that was what I knew had to be changed. Look, Isabella, it's really very simple. Nigeria is a blessed country, probably more blessed than almost any other nation in the world. And every blessed country can only become a great nation when you have good governance. And when good governance is not a complicated thing, it just means good people in governance, people who have the right heart, who have the right values, the right vision, people who have the competence and the capacity, who are capable, and then more importantly, people who have charisma to inspire other people to be able to be a part of what they're doing, especially the populace, and more importantly, people who have the fear of God in their heart. At the heart of the Alliance for New Nigeria ideology is the concept of opportunities for all. That no one should be excluded for whatever the reason is from an opportunity simply because you're from a tribe or a religion or somewhere. Nobody should ever be excluded. And that for me is everything I've always preached, everything I've always lived, everything I've always worked hard for, to see that everyone gets the right opportunity. And I always say it this way, where I want a new Nigeria, where the son of a nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody, because everything works. And that's how it used to be, long ago in the past. You could get into an admission into university without knowing anybody. I never knew where the JAMB office was, and yet, I didn't have to know anybody to get an admission into University of Ife in 1982, right? You could get a job without knowing anybody. You could get, that's the kind of Nigeria we want, where what you do is what gets you as far as you can go. So the Alliance for New Nigeria, in ideology, in values, in ethos, in everything, had a perfect fit with me. And that's why I joined the party.
And what has been the reception? Like, you've been going around the country. A lot of people will be hearing about this ANN for the first time. They might not even be familiar with your emblem, your logo. So what has it really been like?
Well, I think one thing is for sure. What I found was very interesting was that the people who wanted a new Nigeria, most of them didn't know what it was called. So we don't go out just trying to sell, vote for ANN, vote for ANN. No, people are not likely to vote for a party as much as they vote for the ideology of the party. So what I'm saying is the message has never been just go out and vote for Alliance for New Nigeria. No, the message has been if you're tired of the way things are, if you believe Nigeria can be better, if it is well managed, and if you want a better Nigeria that you'll be proud of, then you want a new Nigeria. And if you want that new Nigeria where everyone has opportunity to be the best they can be, to give their best, and to have the best life possible, then you want a new Nigeria. What you want is, if you want a new Nigeria, vote for ANN. So it's that simple. So ANN is only a gateway to what it is that people want. What we are finding out, Isabella, is that everybody wants a new Nigeria. That in the southeast, they want a new Nigeria. In the south-south, they want a new Nigeria. In the southwest, in the northeast, northwest, north central, everywhere across Nigeria, and even those in diaspora, want a new Nigeria. Do you know that I would say it this way? Even foreign investors want a new Nigeria. Those who are neighboring countries want a new Nigeria. So a new Nigeria is something that everyone wants, and now they are beginning to say, if I want a new Nigeria, this is how I'm going to get it. I'll vote for ANN, because that's a party that's committed to delivering the new Nigeria.
But let's remove APC and PDP. You're left with 89 political parties. Are these 89 political parties not offering in one form or the other a new Nigeria, a difference? Give us a chance, they're saying. So what makes ANN stand out from the rest?
I think the first thing that you'll find out is, and I always say to people, what's in a name? Well, a name is an identity, so an identity is a reflection of who you are. So when a party describes itself as Alliance for New Nigeria, you know that New Nigeria is not just a political slang. It's what defines the identity of the people. And more importantly, many of the new parties are registered by the old parties as ways of being able to mobilize for supposedly endorsements. So they would say, 30 parties have endorsed and come into an alliance with this one. And we know these games, they are political strategies, we know them. So the truth is, what makes ANN different is what ANN stands for. It's how people emerge on ANN. Go and look at APC and say, did everyone have equal opportunity in APC to become who they wanted to be? No. There was still Babasokwe, there was still selection going on in APC, there was selection going on in PDP. We saw that there was, everybody watched literally, and we heard about how much money was given to delegates by most of the aspirants, and so we understand. ANN, for instance, we even had an instance where there was an aspirant that kind of like tried to bring in a little bit of the old politics into ANN. Guess what? The party came up with a hashtag, ANN not for sale. I never had to give out one kobo to any of the 247 delegates that voted at the primaries. And 7 of them voted for the other gentleman, 240 of them voted for me, and I didn't give them one kobo. That tells you the true value of the party. So
you have the opportunity to share what ANN is bringing to the table on our next segment, which is Project Nigeria segment. We'll be going on a quick break on Politico Politica, but join us again because the Project Nigeria segment coming up after this break promises to be an interesting segment. You don't want to miss that.
Politico Politica. Politics for everyone.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. It's time for our Project Nigeria segment. So as the name implies, we see Nigeria as a project. But before going into any project, you want to assess things. We're in 2019. How will you assess the state of affairs in Nigeria?
Well, I think that the state of affairs in Nigeria is really regrettable. I think that it is a shame that a nation that is so blessed as Nigeria, and I always say it this way, I really don't know any nation that is more blessed with mineral resources, natural resources, and human resources as Nigeria is. And yet to see that we have now become the home to the largest number of people living in abject poverty is regrettable.
Now, you've been meeting with the grassroots, you've been going around the country, you've been speaking to people. What would you say is that one big problem across board that Nigerians are facing?
Opportunity. Now, most people may not agree until they start thinking, say, no, it's jobs, oh no, it's power.
Or security, or education, health.
So now this is what I'm being. It is the opportunity for everyone to be able to live their dreams, be their best, and create for themselves the kind of life that they would love to live, and to earn a living, to take care of their families, and to be able to live in safety and peace so that they can progress and prosper. All of those things are wrapped up in one thing, opportunity. Why do you think that people are running away from Nigeria? Well, they are running away from Nigeria because of insecurity, yes, for some, because of lack of power for others, and all of that. But where are they running to? Are they running to security? Not really. Are they running to power? Not really. That's not what it is. Those things are there. What they are running to when they go across the Libyan desert, what they're running to when they risk their lives across the Mediterranean Sea to get to the other side, what they run into when they leave their jobs and their businesses behind to take their families and go, to Canada, to the US, what they are running to is opportunity. So opportunity, I believe, it might sound like a highfalutin thing, but you see, everyone deserves an opportunity to be productive. That means you need jobs. And Nigerians want jobs. They don't want to be lazy. We are one of the most enterprising people, but Nigerians can't start businesses. 4 out of every 5 businesses started in Nigeria.
So you've said opportunities. So how will you bring opportunities if that's the biggest problem? How do you intend to solve it?
So the first thing that has to happen is that for opportunities to come, you have to make the nation work. The opportunities come when government works for everyone. And that means that there is no one who is marginalized and no one who is deprived of any opportunity in government because of where you come from or who you be, or how you worship or any of those things. So the first thing that must happen is that government must work for everybody. And there are 4 things that government that will give opportunity to all must offer. Number 1, we must be able to reduce the cost of running government. And because there's so much that we are currently wasting in government that should form the kind of investment that we will be making in things that will give opportunity to people. So if you want to give everyone the opportunity to sleep with a full stomach, you invest in agriculture. If you want to give someone the opportunity to be able to sleep with peace, you invest in security. If you want to be able to give people the opportunity to be able to live well and to be able to start businesses and grow their businesses especially, you give them power. If you want, you give them infrastructure. But those investments have been denied us because of the wastage in governance. So the monies we should have used to pay salaries and get people to live well, where a few people are stealing and cutting away in dollars.
So that's the first point, to reduce the cost of governance.
The second thing that you got to do is you got to reform your government to make sure that there is a culture of delivering service to the people, and not just any service, excellent service. That is the kind of things that people go to look for abroad. They say, you called 911, some guys showed up, and they showed up in 2 minutes. That is excellent service delivery. We want to be able to make sure that we reform the mind of the civil service to make sure that we are delivering excellent service. The third one is that you've got to restructure the country, especially your economy. And today you see that Nigeria gets literally almost 90% of its earnings from one product, whereas we have mineral resources, metals, stones, all over Nigeria that have not yet been tapped into. We want to release all of that by creating what you would think of as industrial hubs in every local government. That is the vision, that there will come a new Nigeria where every local government, we're going to start first with getting one in each of the 36 states, but then the goal is to see every local government become like Ikeja, like Agbara, where somehow or the other you would have industries, and you can connect those industries by rail to ports, so that you can be able to export. And that is going to be the most important thing. To restructure and make that work, you're going to need to think about how do we put money back into the communities where we take those resources from. We are proposing, and we're saying, when we get into government, a Fela Durotoye and Alliance for New Nigeria-led government will see to resource allocation of 20% to the communities that you get the resources from, 20% to the local government, and 20% to the state. That's 60%, and then the federal government can work with 40%. Currently, the federal government gets 87%, and then the states get 13%, the community doesn't get anything. So we're going to restructure that. And the last one is we're going to reorient our people. We're going to have to go through a values reorientation so that we can build a new mindset of what it is to be Nigerian. We get people to love Nigeria again, get people to give their best to Nigeria and to do their best in this country. That values reorientation will have to be passed through TV, radio, billboards, in our schools, especially in our schools. So fixed values education. And doing those things, we are now able to make sure that we have a healthy and strong, able, productive people who you would love to do business with. And that's how we're going to build a new Nigeria.
So come 2023, what would this new Nigeria look like if Alliance for New Nigeria wins the elections? I
can promise you that come 2023, you will first of all have a nation that people are rushing to go to. The second thing is that we would see that in the next 4 years, there are industrial hubs that have been built and are being built in every local government around Nigeria. Mineral resources, natural resources are being processed, packaged in those areas. So now there are job opportunities in every local government. Nobody has to run to the city to be able to get a job. There will be a lot of construction work going on. We're talking about non-stop construction work. 6-hour shifts, 4 shifts a day, 7 days a week. We will be building roads and building power. We will have captive power, which means we don't have to, first of all, go and put power in the transmission, in our transmission grid. We can generate power for a town and sell the power to the town, So we will see stable power.
What about the issue of security?
It is going to be one of the most important things in Nigeria, and you will see it. You will see Nigerians will have not only a police force of people who are respectable, but also respectful. You would see experts, people who, when you see them, you will be proud to say these are Nigerian police members, because policemen and women, because that is one of the most important things that we have to do. Our army will be strong. And I believe that even then you will not see or hear of one incident of herdsmen attack, because in 4 years we would have ranches, and the people would have found out that it is better to ranch your cattle than to be carrying your cattle through other people's property. So we would see.
And our girls in captivity?
Oh, by that time I believe that for sure that our girls in captivity will be out, because we would have the political will and the leadership will to go and get them. and we will be able to defeat the army. Today, if you talk to many of the soldiers, today, they will tell you that there are several times that they've gotten close to defeating a group of people and they will be told to stop and to withdraw. And they say, look, we are just about to take them out. They say, no, withdraw. And they've had instances where some of them actually defied those instructions and engaged and killed some of the terrorists, and then they were court-martialed. So we will have the will to actually do the right thing. We would have an equipped, properly equipped force, security agencies, and we will not be able to have all these policemen today that are extorting money from the road. That's not going to be anything. When you see a policeman, you have a sense of security. So in my opinion, in my conclusion, I would say to you that by 2023, every part of Nigeria will be booming with economic opportunities. Every part of Nigeria. We will have people in leadership that are accountable to the people. We will have a nation that understands the values of what it means to be Nigerians. Nigerians will be people that will be proud again that we are a nation.
Thank you, Fela, for your contributions.
Thank you so much.
We'll be taking a quick break on Politico Politica, but don't go anywhere because our light-hearted segment, the Quickfire segment, comes up after this break. Join us again.
Politico Politica. Politics for everyone.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. It's now time to switch things up. On a lighter note, it's a quickfire segment. So the quickfire segment is lighthearted. So number one, the first female governor will emerge in the next elections. True or false? Quickfire. Number two, the party that will dominate in 2019 is?
Alliance for New Nigeria.
Number three, young people have what it takes to be leaders because?
Because they would have a leader that believes in them and helps them to know how to become leaders and will role model it for them. And that leader will be Fela Durotoye.
Number four, the funniest thing I've read about myself online.
That Fela Durotoye got some money from one of the political parties to step down. And obviously that wasn't, so I laughed it off because I thought it was so funny.
Okay.
I'm in this to win and I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this to deliver a new Nigeria.
Number five, the candidate I am most afraid of.
Myself.
Number six, Nigerians will vote with their stomach or their brain.
Nigerians will vote with their brains because they would have learned enough to know that their stomach can only be fed for one evening or two, but their brains need to be fed for longer, and so they will be wiser.
And number seven, if not you, who?
I may not be able to give you a particular name today, but I'm looking to say, look, you know what? If not me, let the best person win. But Nigerians must vote for somebody who has the values that they have. Must vote for somebody who has a vision for the country they want to live in and to give to their children. And more importantly, they must vote for someone who has a track record of performing and delivering at some level, especially when they did not have power and they did not have position. So whoever that person is, as far as Nigeria is concerned, I think that would be somebody else that they would vote for. That's why I hope that they will vote for me anyways. Somebody who loves Nigeria, who cares about the people, and who respects the law.
Thank you, Fela.
Thank you so much, Isabella.
We'll soon be wrapping up this episode of Politico Politica, but first, let's check out what's happening on the political landscape. Enjoy.
Politico Politica. Politics for everyone.
Make you go collect your PVC. Election they come make you go collect your PVC. Make up your mind, make you vote your leader. Make you relax, cause your vote go count oh. Cause your vote go count oh yeah. If you register, make you carry your TVC.
You temporary voters card.
Make you give INEC, man I give you PVC.
Your permanent voters card.
Your permanent voters card now your power to go. And if you don't get them, you know say you know if you vote.
Collect your PVC and keep it safe. Remember, no PVC, no voting.
This message is from INEC, making your vote count, consolidating our democracy.
Politico Politica. Politics for everyone.
Welcome back to Politico Politica with me, your host, Isabella Akinseye. It's now time for our final word segment. And as the name implies, we want you to imagine you're taking your final breath. What will your final words be to Nigerians and indeed the world watching? Please say that to your camera.
We have fought a good fight, and we are glad that we have built a great nation. And you have to continue to build this great nation because that is why you're born into Nigeria. And I want you to understand that every generation must accept the responsibility to build for the next generation a better nation than the one they're living in. And that responsibility demands on you to take action, to get involved, to take the best decisions, not only for yourself, but for your community at large and for the next generation. You must believe in yourself, believe in our nation. Let's believe in our generation and cause the next generation to believe in themselves. But let's commit our time, our energy. Let's commit our resources. So the most important thing, as I give you at least my last breath on this show, is get involved. Get involved in 2019 elections. That won't be my last breath. But get involved in 2019 elections and make sure that you're always involved with choosing the government, the people who will lead a government that will give you the nation you deserve. We want a new Nigeria, and by then, I'm sure, by the time it's my last breath, we would have had a great nation, but we will always have the opportunity to make it a better nation. We want opportunities for everyone, and as long as there's anyone who does not have the opportunity to become who they want to be, as long as there's the son of a nobody that cannot yet become somebody until they know somebody, then you know that we have work to do. We want a nation where the son of a nobody will know somebody and become somebody without knowing anybody. All right, where the son of a nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. That is the challenge that I'm giving to you as I take my last breath. God bless you, and may God bless Nigeria. That will be a lot of last breath. The angels will be waiting like, come on, let's do this, we gotta go.
You'd say you were strapped up to an oxygen tank. But thank you, Fela, for being on Politico Politica.
Thank you. Really, 2019 is such a critical elections. It's the election between the past and the future. It's the election between the Nigeria we don't like and the Nigeria we want. It's an election between those who have held us bound and those who will release us to be all that we can be. There is a new Nigeria at hand. It is a choice. Our choices will determine what we get. If you don't vote, you will get the government you deserve. When you vote, you will get the government you desire. God bless you as you vote. And I believe that if you want a government that will help to give opportunities to everyone without you having to know anybody, then you want to vote for Alliance for New Nigeria. We will deliver together a new Nigeria.
Thank you again, Fela, for being our guest on Politico Politica.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And just like our guest said, we all have to play a part. I'm Isabella Akinseye, reminding you that politics is not just for the old, it's for the young, it's for everyone. So play a part and stay woke.